Ion had always believed that life was simple. He worked hard, dreamed big, and tried to stay positive no matter how tough things got. His world was not full of luxuries, but it was filled with honesty, laughter, and small joys that money could never buy. Every morning, he walked through the busy streets of the city, past tall buildings that seemed to touch the sky, and past people rushing for jobs, meetings, and errands. He often wondered what life would be like if he could meet someone who understood the value of simple happiness. Hina, on the other hand, lived in a world completely different from Ion's. She grew up in a large house with servants, a car in every garage, and the freedom to explore everything that money could offer. Yet, despite all the comfort, she often felt trapped. People admired her wealth, but nobody really saw her for who she was. She loved books, nature, and honest conversations, things that were often missing in her circle of friends. Deep down, she longed for someone genuine, someone who could see her as a person and not as an image of wealth. Their paths crossed on a rainy morning in a crowded coffee shop. Ion was sitting near the window, sipping his simple tea, watching raindrops slide down the glass. He loved these quiet moments where he could watch the world without being part of the chaos. Hina entered, holding a large umbrella, her shoes splashing in the shallow puddles outside. She looked around for a place to sit and noticing no free tables. She accidentally bumped into Ion's table, knocking his tea slightly. He looked up, startled, and instinctively reached to save his cup. "I'm so sorry," Hina said quickly, her eyes full of genuine concern. "I didn't see your table there." Ion shook his head, smiling despite the spill. "It's okay. These things happen. No harm done." She hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to sit or leave, but something about Ion's calm smile made her stay. She pulled out a chair and sat across from him, apologizing again, and offered to buy him another tea. Ion, amused and curious, accepted. They started talking casually at first about the rain, the city, and the coffee shop itself. Gradually, the conversation shifted to more personal topics, books, dreams, and little stories from their lives. There was a comfort in their words, a feeling of connection that neither had expected. As the rain continued outside, Ion noticed that Hina wasn't like anyone he had met before. She didn't flaunt her wealth or try to impress him with stories of her life. Instead, she asked questions, listened carefully, and laughed at the small things. For Hina, Ion's honesty and simple way of seeing the world was refreshing. No one had ever taken the time to share their real thoughts with her without hidden motives or judgments. Hours passed like minutes. The rain stopped, but neither of them seemed to notice. They exchanged stories about their families, their challenges, and even their small failures. Ion talked about his struggles with finding a stable job and how he sometimes had to take multiple odd jobs just to make ends meet. Hina shared how she often felt lonely in her world of luxury, surrounded by people who valued appearances more than feelings. Each story built a bridge between them, making them feel like they had known each other for years. Before leaving, Hina smiled softly. "I never thought I could meet someone who sees life the way I do," she said. Ion's heart skipped a beat. He felt the same way. "Me neither," he admitted. "It's strange. But it feels like fate brought us together today." They exchanged phone numbers. Not out of necessity, but because both felt an unspoken desire to continue this newfound connection. Outside the coffee shop, the sun peeked through the clouds, casting a warm glow on the wet streets. Ion watched Hina walk away, feeling a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. He had no idea what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. This encounter was different from anything he had ever experienced. In the days that followed, Ion and Hina kept in touch. Their messages were small, simple, and filled with curiosity. They shared thoughts about books, favorite places in the city, and dreams they had never voiced to anyone else. Each message was like a thread weaving their lives closer together. Both felt a subtle thrill every time they received a note from the other. It was not about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It was about connection, understanding, and being seen. One evening, Ion found himself walking past the same coffee shop, hoping to catch a glimpse of Hina again. He remembered the laughter, the warmth, and the simplicity of their conversation. Just as he turned a corner, he saw her sitting outside under a small canopy, sketching in a notebook. She looked up, noticed him, and waved with a bright smile. His heart raced as he walked toward her, feeling that same inexplicable pull that had drawn them. Together in the first place, they spent the evening walking through quiet streets, sharing small moments, watching street performers, laughing at a stray dog chasing its tail, and talking about their favorite childhood memories. Each step felt like a dance of fate, bringing them closer. It was clear to both that this connection was rare, something that could not be measured by wealth, status, or background. It was simple, genuine, and pure. As the night grew darker, they stood by a small bridge, overlooking the city lights reflecting in the river below. Hina turned to Ion, her eyes reflecting a mix of wonder and hesitation. "It feels like we were meant to meet," she said softly. Ion nodded, taking a deep breath. "I feel the same way. No matter what happens, I'm glad we met." That night, they parted ways with a promise to meet again, both feeling a strange sense of hope and anticipation. The city around them was noisy, crowded, and chaotic. Yet in that moment, it felt like a quiet, private world had opened up just for them. They both knew that their story was just beginning, and it would not be easy. There would be challenges, doubts, and obstacles ahead. But for the first time in a long time, both felt a spark of something real. Something that neither wealth nor circumstance could destroy. As Ion walked back to his small apartment, he kept replaying the moments of the day in his mind. The way Hina laughed, the kindness in her eyes, and the way she had listened without judgment was all etched in his memory. He realized that life sometimes had a strange way of bringing people together. In the most unexpected moments and places, Hina, sitting in her room that night, looked out at the city skyline and thought about Ion. She smiled, remembering how he had shared his dreams with her, how he had treated her as a person, not a symbol of wealth. She felt a warmth in her heart that she had not known for a long time. It was exciting, scary, and comforting all at once. She knew that this connection, fragile as it might seem, was something she wanted to explore, something worth holding on to. And so, fate had played its hand. Two people from completely different worlds had met, not through money, status, or influence, but through a simple, genuine encounter. The rain that morning, the spilled tea, and the quiet moments in a coffee shop had changed their lives forever. Both Ion and Hina felt it deep down. This was the beginning of a story that neither wealth nor circumstance could define. A story written by fate, and one that would unfold in ways they could never have imagined. After their first meeting in the coffee shop, Ion and Hina's connection began to grow naturally, like two rivers slowly converging into one. It was not a love born out of grand gestures or extravagant moments. It was quiet, genuine, and full of small, meaningful exchanges that made both of them feel alive. They met wherever life allowed them, sometimes by chance, sometimes intentionally. On each encounter, deepened their understanding of each other. One sunny afternoon, Ion found himself in the small city park he often visited. The park was alive with children running, old men playing chess under the shade of large trees, and vendors selling snacks. Hina was there too, sitting on a bench with a sketchbook in her lap, quietly drawing the scenery. She looked up as he approached, her eyes lighting up. He walked over with a smile. She gestured for him to sit beside her. They talked about everything and nothing, from the shapes of the clouds to the sounds of the city. Hina shared her sketches, showing Ion how she saw beauty in ordinary things. Ion listened, genuinely impressed by her eye for detail and her ability to find magic in simplicity. He shared stories from his own life, his struggles, his small achievements, and the dreams that he carried quietly. There was a rare comfort in their conversations, a feeling of being truly seen and understood. As days turned into weeks, their interactions became more frequent. Sometimes they met at the park, sometimes at the coffee shop, and sometimes on quiet streets where the city seemed to pause for a moment. They laughed at little accidents, like a pigeon landing on Ion's shoulder, or Hina tripping over a small stone, and these moments made their bond stronger. Both began to look forward to these meetings, knowing that each encounter brought a new layer of connection. One evening, they decided to take a small walk through the older part of the city, where the streets were narrower and quieter. The sun was setting, casting golden hues on the old buildings, and the air carried a cool, comforting breeze. They stopped in front of a small, neglected fountain, watching the water trickle slowly. "I love this part of the city," Hina said softly. "It feels untouched, honest, and calm. Not like the busy areas where everything is loud and rushed." Ion nodded. "I feel the same way. It's simple and it's real. Sometimes I think life is better when we notice small things, things people usually overlook." They walked slowly, talking about their favorite memories from childhood, the simple joys that made them happy, and the dreams they hoped to achieve. Ion spoke about how he wished to start his own small business someday, something that would allow him to support his family and do work he loved. Hina shared how she wanted to live a life of purpose, beyond the expectations of her wealthy family, where she could make real connections and contribute to something meaningful. Through these conversations, they realized how similar their values were despite their different worlds. Both valued honesty, kindness, and the beauty of ordinary life. Both felt that life was richer when shared with someone who understood and respected the other's soul. They laughed together at small jokes, argued playfully over trivial matters, and shared quiet silences that felt comfortable rather than awkward. One day, Ion invited Hina to a local market he loved to visit. It was a crowded, lively place filled with colorful stalls, the aroma of spices, and the chatter of vendors and shoppers. Hina's eyes widened as she took in the sights and sounds. She had never been to a place so vibrant and full of life, and it fascinated her. Ion guided her through the stalls, showing her his favorite foods, pointing out interesting trinkets, and introducing her to some of the vendors who knew him by name. She laughed at his interactions, charmed by his friendliness and the way he seemed to belong to this world completely. He, in turn, was fascinated by her curiosity and the way she noticed details others might overlook. He watched her smile and felt a warmth spread in his chest. They bought some snacks and found a quiet corner to sit and enjoy them. Hina shared her thoughts about the people around them, the colors, the smells, and how it all made her feel alive in a way she had not experienced before. Ion listened intently, feeling a mix of pride and admiration. He realized that Hina's presence made even the simplest moments memorable and special. As they continued to spend time together, their conversations began to include more personal topics. Ion spoke of his family, the sacrifices his parents made for him, and the responsibilities he carried as the eldest child. Hina shared her struggles with loneliness despite her wealth, the expectations that weighed heavily on her, and the desire to live a life of genuine meaning. They found solace in each other's stories. Knowing that the other understood without judgment, one evening, they visited a small, quiet bookstore tucked away in a corner of the city. The smell of old books and the soft rustle of pages created a peaceful atmosphere. They wandered through the aisles, sharing their favorite books, reading passages aloud to each other, and recommending stories they loved. Hina found herself captivated by the simplicity of Ion's taste in books, the way he appreciated the words and the emotions they carried. Ion was equally enchanted by Hina's thoughtful insights and the way she could find depth and meaning in even the simplest sentences. The bookstore visit became a turning point in their relationship. It was a place where their minds met as much as their hearts did. They began to see each other not just as companions, but as partners in thought and imagination. They discovered a shared love for creativity, reflection, and learning, which made their connection even deeper. Despite the joy they shared, challenges started to appear on the horizon. Hina's family began to notice her frequent absence from social gatherings and her growing attachment to Ion. There were subtle warnings, cautious questions, and hints that she should focus on suitors from similar social backgrounds. Hina felt torn, caught between the expectations of her family and the genuine feelings she had for a YAAN. Tu felt the pressure of societal expectations. He was aware of the differences in their social status and wondered if he could ever truly be accepted in her world. He worried about whether their connection could survive the scrutiny and judgment of others. Yet despite these worries, he never let them overshadow the bond they had begun to build. He cherished each moment with Hina, knowing that their relationship was growing stronger with every shared laugh, every heartfelt conversation, and every quiet moment spent together. One rainy evening, much like the day they first met, Ion and Hina found themselves walking together under shared umbrellas. The city lights reflected off the wet streets, creating a magical glow. They talked about their dreams, the future, and the small joys that kept them going. The rain, the quiet streets, and the intimacy of their conversation made the world feel like it had shrunk to just the two of them. Hina looked at Ion and smiled. "It's strange," she said softly. "No matter what happens, being with you feels natural. It feels right." Ion took her hand gently. "I feel the same. Life may be complicated and the world may not understand us, but this feels real. That's what matters." They walked a little longer in silence, enjoying the comfort of each other's presence. Both knew that challenges awaited, but they also knew that the bond they were forming was strong enough to face the world. It was not built on wealth, status, or appearances. It was built on understanding, respect, and genuine connection. As they parted that night, promising to meet again soon, both felt a sense of hope and anticipation. Their story was unfolding slowly, with each shared moment and each simple adventure adding depth and meaning. They had discovered a rare connection, one that was nurtured not by circumstance, but by choice, care, and the small joys of everyday life. In the following days, they continued to meet in simple, ordinary places, parks, streets, coffee shops, and bookstores. Each encounter reinforced their bond, making them realize that love could thrive in simplicity, and that true connection was not about wealth or status, but about being seen, heard, and valued. Their laughter, shared stories, and quiet silences became the foundation of something that felt enduring. Something neither of them had expected, but both cherished deeply. Through these experiences, Ion and Hina learned that love could be found in small, unassuming moments. It was not about grand gestures or extravagant gifts. It was about sharing life honestly, embracing each other's strengths and vulnerabilities, and building a connection that could weather any storm. Theirs was a story of fate, patience, and genuine affection, slowly unfolding in the most natural and beautiful way possible. As their bond grew stronger, Ion and Hina started feeling the subtle pressures of the world around them. Their connection was genuine, built on shared dreams, simple joys, and honest conversation. But the society they lived in was not always kind to such stories. Hina's family began to notice her frequent absences from social gatherings and her growing attachment to Ion. Small comments, polite warnings, and cautious questions were made, hinting that she should focus on suitors from families similar to theirs. Hina felt a heavy weight of expectation. Torn between her love for Ion and her respect for her family's wishes, Ion, too, felt the invisible barrier between them. He knew that wealth and social standing could create challenges, yet he never let this discourage him. Instead, he focused on being true to himself and showing Hina the sincerity of his feelings. He wanted to prove that love could thrive in simplicity. That character and heart mattered more than money or status. One afternoon, Hina invited Ion to her home under the pretense of discussing a book she had recently read. Ion hesitated at first, aware of the subtle tensions that could arise, but he trusted Hina and agreed. When he arrived, he was immediately aware of the opulence surrounding him. The grand furniture, large halls, and polished floors contrasted sharply with his modest life. He felt a mix of awe and nervousness, but reminded himself that his place was beside Hina in this moment, not beneath her world. Hina noticed his unease and smiled gently. "You don't need to worry here. Just be yourself," she said softly. "That's all that matters to me." Ion relaxed slightly, feeling reassured by her words. They spent hours in her study, discussing ideas, books, and dreams. Despite the grandeur around them, the conversation felt as intimate and natural as it did in the small coffee shop where they had first met. In that space, they could be themselves, stripped of the expectations that society and circumstance often imposed. As the days passed, the pressure from Hina's family grew. Subtle comments about suitable suitors, the importance of wealth, and social standing reached her ears frequently. She felt frustrated, conflicted, and at times unsure of how to navigate these expectations while staying true to her heart. Ion noticed her worry and tried to offer comfort, reminding her that their bond was built on honesty and trust, not external approval. One evening, as they walked through the quieter streets of the city, Hina voiced her concerns. "I don't want to disappoint my family," she said softly, "but I also don't want to lose what we have." Ion stopped and took her hands in his. "I understand," he said gently. "But love isn't about pleasing everyone else. It's about being true to each other, even when the world tries to pull us apart. If we hold on to that, nothing else matters." Hina felt a sense of relief wash over her. His words reminded her of why she had felt drawn to him in the first place. It wasn't about wealth, appearances, or social standing. It was about connection, understanding, and respect. She realized that she could not ignore her feelings for Ion, no matter how much pressure existed around her. Around this time, Ion faced his own challenges. He had been working hard to establish a small business that would allow him to support his family and create a stable future. The path was difficult, filled with obstacles, financial limitations, and unexpected setbacks. Yet he remained determined, motivated by the thought of building a life where he could be independent and also share a future with Hina. Hina became a source of quiet strength for him. She encouraged him, celebrated his small victories, and offered thoughtful advice without judgment. In return, Ion's dedication and resilience inspired her, showing her that love was not only about emotions, but also about commitment and effort. One weekend, they decided to visit a quiet hill outside the city, a place neither had explored before. The hill overlooked the entire city, and the view at sunset was breathtaking. They walked together along narrow paths, sharing stories of their childhood, hopes for the future, and the small fears that sometimes lingered in their hearts. The isolation of the hill made the world feel distant, and in those moments, they were just two people connecting deeply without the interference of society or expectation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Hina leaned on Ion's shoulder. "It feels like we can escape everything here," she said quietly. "Just for a while, nothing else matters but this moment." Ion smiled and nodded. "Exactly. Moments like this are what make life meaningful. No one else's opinion can change that." But even in this peaceful setting, the reality of their circumstances lingered. They knew the challenges awaiting them: family expectations, social scrutiny, and the judgments of others. These challenges were not easy to face, yet they both understood that love required courage and persistence. They made a silent promise to each other to face these difficulties together, whatever form they might take. In the weeks that followed, tensions increased at Hina's home. Her family arranged meetings with suitors and subtly compared them to Ion. Hina, however, remained resolute. She spent her evenings thinking about Ion, their conversations, and the way he made her feel truly understood. She realized that no amount of wealth or status could replicate the connection they shared. Yan. Meanwhile, focused on preparing for the next phase of his life, he worked tirelessly, planning, saving, and taking calculated risks. He understood that proving himself in the world outside their private moments was necessary. Not for Hina's approval, but to build a life that could sustain their love in the face of societal pressure. One day, a small but meaningful incident strengthened their bond further. Hina had been criticized by a family member for spending time with Ion, and she felt hurt and conflicted. Ion, sensing her distress, invited her to a quiet cafe where they had first met. They sat across from each other, holding hands and sharing thoughts without distraction. "Hein," Ion said gently, "our life won't be easy. There will be people who don't understand, moments that test us, and choices that seem impossible. But if we hold on to what we have, our connection, our understanding, we can face anything together." Tears filled Hina's eyes, not from sadness, but from the depth of relief and love she felt. "You're right," she whispered. "I don't want to let go of this. I don't want to lose you." From that day, their bond became even stronger. They learned to navigate the complexities of their lives, balancing love, responsibility, and societal pressure. Each day they spent together was a testament to their commitment and the strength of their connection. Their love was not easy, but it was genuine, resilient, and unshakable. Ayan and Hina continued to create moments of joy and intimacy, finding happiness in the simplest of things: shared meals, quiet walks, small jokes, and thoughtful gestures. They discovered that love was not about grand declarations or luxurious gifts. It was about presence, care, and the willingness to face life together despite challenges. Through these experiences, they realized that the world outside their bubble might not always understand or accept their bond, but they didn't need validation from others. What mattered most was the authenticity of their feelings and the effort they put into nurturing their relationship. Every conversation, every laugh, and every quiet moment became a building block for a love that could endure the pressures of the world. Life for Ayan and Hina continued to present challenges, but they also discovered moments that brought clarity and courage. They realized that the obstacles they faced were not meant to pull them apart, but to test their resilience and commitment. Each trial became a reflection of their inner strength and the depth of their connection. One afternoon, Ayan received an opportunity to showcase his work in a local market exhibition. This event was significant because it could attract potential investors, help him establish his small business, and prove his capability to support himself and his family. Hina encouraged him enthusiastically, offering to help with preparations, design, and presentation. Her support reminded him that he was not alone in his journey, that someone believed in him wholeheartedly. Together, they worked tirelessly on the preparations. Ayan focused on creating quality products and making a presentation that would stand out. Hina contributed with creative ideas, helping him think about how people would perceive his work and adding personal touches that highlighted his uniqueness. Their collaboration strengthened their bond even further, showing them the power of teamwork and mutual encouragement. The day of the exhibition arrived. Bustling with energy and filled with people from different walks of life, Ayan set up his stall, slightly nervous but determined. Hina stood beside him, providing reassurance and sharing encouraging words. Their presence together drew attention, not only because of the quality of the work, but because of the authenticity of their teamwork. Visitors appreciated the sincerity and care reflected in Ayan's products, as well as the evident support of Hina. Throughout the day, Ayan noticed the genuine interest people had in his work. He felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, not because of recognition or profit alone, but because he had stayed true to his vision. Hina watched him with admiration, realizing that love was not just about emotions. It was also about witnessing and supporting growth, courage, and integrity. As the exhibition concluded, Ayan had not only gained attention for his work, but also valuable connections that could help him advance his business. More importantly, he felt a renewed sense of confidence. Hina's presence had made this achievement more meaningful, reinforcing the idea that their relationship was a source of strength and inspiration rather than a burden. Soon after the exhibition, a crisis presented itself that tested their bond in a different way. Hina's family had organized a formal gathering and expected her presence, emphasizing the importance of maintaining their social image. Hina was torn between attending the event to respect her family and spending time with Ayan, who had been facing significant pressure with his business preparations. Hina decided to spend a quiet day with Ayan instead, prioritizing authenticity over obligation. They visited a small riverside area, far from the city's bustle, where they could talk freely and reflect on their lives. The serene environment allowed them to express their fears, hopes, and thoughts without external judgment. They shared stories about their past struggles, dreams for the future, and the importance of staying true to themselves. During this conversation, Hina expressed her concern about the societal pressure they were under. "People expect me to follow a path chosen for me, to marry someone they approve of, but my heart doesn't belong to that path. It belongs here, with you, she said softly. And held her hands firmly, looking into her eyes. Then that is where it will stay. The world may not understand us, but what we have is real. We must trust that our choices and our commitment will guide us through the challenges. The conversation reinforced their determination to navigate the complexities of life together. They realized that love required not only emotional connection, but also courage, patience, and strategic thinking. They had to face the world with a united front, supporting each other while staying true to their values. In the days that followed, Ion faced another challenge. A potential investor questioned his ability to manage the business due to his modest background. The investor doubted his skills, thinking he lacked the experience and resources to succeed. Ion felt a mix of frustration and determination. Hina reminded him that this was an opportunity to prove his worth, not by competing with wealth or status, but by demonstrating honesty, dedication, and practical skill. Ion approached the investor with clarity and confidence, presenting his vision, plans, and work ethic. He explained the value of hard work, persistence, and authenticity. The investor was impressed by Ion's commitment and sincerity, eventually offering support to help him expand his business. This moment was a testament to the power of integrity, proving that character could open doors that money or privilege alone could not. Meanwhile, Hina continued to navigate her family's expectations. She found subtle ways to assert her independence, attending family gatherings with grace while maintaining her personal choices. She demonstrated that her decisions were guided by thoughtfulness, love, and responsibility rather than rebellion. Her family gradually began to notice the strength and maturity in her approach. Though not fully understanding the depth of her connection with one afternoon, the couple visited a small community center where local children gathered for learning and recreation. Hina had suggested volunteering together, seeing it as an opportunity to contribute positively to society. They spent the day helping with activities, teaching basic skills, and simply engaging with the children. The experience was humbling and enlightening, reinforcing the idea that love and life were not just about material gain, but about meaningful actions and shared purpose. Through these experiences, Ion and Hina saw how their values aligned in real-life actions. They learned that love was more than words. It was about mutual support, shared effort, and creating impact together. Each day spent facing challenges, helping others, and pursuing personal goals strengthened their bond, making it resilient against external pressures. As the days turned into weeks, they also faced moments of personal reflection. Hina often thought about the sacrifices her family had made and the societal expectations she had grown up with. She realized that acknowledging these realities did not mean compromising her love for Ion. It meant learning how to navigate life thoughtfully. Ion reflected on his ambitions, responsibilities, and the importance of building a sustainable future for both himself and Hina. Their individual growth complemented their shared journey, creating a balance between personal development and mutual support. One evening, as they walked along the city's quiet riverbank, Hina stopped and looked at Ion. "I feel like every challenge we face brings us closer together. It's not easy, but I believe we can handle anything as long as we have each other." Ion nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and love. Exactly. Love is not just about comfort or easy days. It's about facing life together, making choices that reflect who we are, and supporting each other no matter what comes our way. In the days that followed, both Ion and Hina continued to make intentional choices that reinforced their bond. They nurtured their love through small gestures, thoughtful conversations, and shared experiences that brought joy and understanding. They had learned that love written by fate was not passive. It required action, courage, and unwavering commitment through every challenge and every moment of triumph. They realized that their story was unfolding exactly as it should. It was a story not of wealth, privilege, or societal approval, but of genuine connection, mutual respect, and enduring commitment. Each day brought lessons, growth, and opportunities to strengthen their bond. They understood that fate had not only brought them together, but it also given them the chance to create a love that could withstand any storm. A love built on authenticity, courage, and shared purpose. After months of challenges, growth, and shared experiences, Ion and Hina reached a stage where their love felt both tested and strengthened. They had faced societal pressures, personal doubts, and the practical difficulties of life. Yet each obstacle only deepened their understanding of one another and the life they wished to build together. Their journey was a testament to resilience, patience, and the power of genuine connection. Ion's small business had begun to grow steadily. His dedication, skill, and integrity attracted customers who appreciated not just his work, but the care he put into it. Hina's support continued to be a pillar of strength for him. She offered creative solutions, encouraged him during setbacks, and celebrated his achievements, big and small. Her belief in him was unwavering, and he knew that their shared dreams were becoming tangible. One afternoon, they decided to take a trip to a small village on the outskirts of the city, a place far removed from the chaos and expectations of urban life. The journey was meant to be a retreat, a way to reconnect with nature, with themselves, and with each other. As they arrived, the calmness of the surroundings struck them. Fields stretched endlessly, and the air was fresh and fragrant with the scent of flowers and soil. They spent the day exploring the village, interacting with locals, and learning about their way of life. Hina was fascinated by the simplicity and warmth of the people, their ability to find joy in small things, and the sense of community that seemed missing in their city lives. Ion, meanwhile, felt at home amidst the modest surroundings, appreciating the authenticity and honesty of the villagers' lives. The experience reminded both of them that happiness was not about wealth or possessions, but about connection, purpose, and presence. During the trip, they came across a small community school. Children were playing and learning, their laughter filling the air. Hina and Ion were invited to participate in activities and storytelling sessions. They shared simple lessons, helped organize games, and encouraged the children's curiosity. The joy on the children's faces left a lasting impression on them. Hina realized that life's richest moments came from giving, from sharing love, knowledge, and time, rather than seeking validation or approval from society. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they walked hand in hand along a quiet path. Hina spoke softly, her voice filled with reflection. "I never imagined that love could feel like this, not just joyful, but grounding. It gives me strength and clarity, even when life is complicated." Ion nodded, squeezing her hand gently. "It's the kind of love that helps us face the world with courage. We've grown together, learned together, and supported each other. That makes it real, unshakable." Returning to the city, they faced new challenges. But their experiences in the village had instilled a sense of confidence and perspective. They were no longer as swayed by external judgment or societal expectations. Their choices were guided by understanding, trust, and a vision for a life built together. Hina continued to assert her independence while respecting her family. She attended gatherings gracefully, demonstrating maturity and thoughtfulness. Slowly, her family began to see her resolve, her thoughtfulness, and the depth of her feelings for Ion. They started to understand that their connection was not fleeting, superficial, or misguided. It was rooted in genuine care, respect, and shared values. Ion's life also reached a new stage of stability. His business gained recognition, and he found himself more confident in navigating the challenges of life. Hina remained a constant presence, celebrating his victories and helping him through moments of doubt. Together, they realized that love was not about avoiding difficulty, but about growing stronger through shared effort, understanding, and commitment. One evening, after a particularly successful day at the business, Ion took Hina to the rooftop of his modest apartment. The city lights twinkled below, creating a warm, comforting glow. They stood side by side, reflecting on the journey they had taken together. "Hina," Ion began, his voice steady and full of emotion, "we've faced so many challenges, but every step has been worth it. Every moment with you has taught me the true meaning of love and life. I don't want to imagine a future without you." Hina turned to him, her eyes glistening. "Ion, we've built something that no one can take away. It's not about wealth, status, or what people expect. It's about us, our choices, and the life we want to live together." "I feel the same way," he embraced, feeling a profound sense of security and belonging. It was a love that had been tested, nurtured, and strengthened, a love not written by convenience or luxury, but by fate, courage, and authenticity. Over the next months, they continued to create a life full of purpose and meaning. They worked side by side, celebrated small victories, and cherished the quiet, ordinary moments that defined their connection. They learned to balance ambition with humility, independence with togetherness, and joy with responsibility. Their love became a source of inspiration for friends, colleagues, and family, showing that genuine connection could transcend societal norms and material measures. Through all the ups and downs, Ion and Hina understood that life was a journey to be shared. The world outside might not always understand or approve, but what they had together was real, resilient, and enduring. They found happiness in simple moments, preparing a meal together, watching the sunset, laughing at small misadventures, and supporting each other's dreams. As time passed, their relationship reached a stage where the foundation they had built could support any challenge. Hina's family began to accept their bond, recognizing the strength, commitment, and care that defined it. Ion and Hina's love had become a story of hope, courage, and authenticity, a love that could not be measured by wealth or status, but by the depth of feeling, mutual respect, and shared purpose after months of building their life together. Ion and Hina reached a stage where their love was not only strong but also mature, tested by experience and enriched by shared dreams. They had moved beyond the uncertainties of early love and were now shaping a future with intention, care, and a deep understanding of each other. Every day became an opportunity to strengthen their bond and live the values they both cherished. Ion's business had started to flourish steadily, and he was gaining recognition not just for his skill, but for the integrity and thoughtfulness he put into every endeavor. Hina continued to stand by his side, contributing her ideas, offering encouragement, and celebrating every small success. Their relationship had evolved into a partnership, one built on mutual respect, shared responsibility, and unwavering support. They began exploring new ways to expand their impact on the community. One day, Ion suggested organizing a workshop for young people in the city, teaching skills and sharing experiences that could help them pursue their dreams. Hina loved the idea and immediately offered to help, coordinating logistics, designing materials, and creating a welcoming environment. Their combined efforts made the workshop a success. Inspiring several attendees and strengthening their sense of purpose together, the experience reinforced an important truth for both of them. Love was not just about personal happiness, but also about contributing positively to the world. They found joy in sharing knowledge, supporting others, and witnessing the growth of people around them. These shared endeavors deepened their bond and gave their life together a sense of meaning beyond their own relationship. As their public involvement grew, Hina's family started to see their relationship in a new light. They began recognizing Ion's dedication, integrity, and the positive influence he had on Hina. Their cautious judgment shifted to quiet respect, as they understood that his character and commitment were the foundations of a love that was genuine and enduring. Slowly, the walls of skepticism and expectation began to give way to acceptance and understanding. Despite the progress, challenges continued to appear. Ion faced occasional setbacks in business, from supply issues to financial hurdles, while Hina dealt with societal expectations and subtle pressure from her social circles. They learned to navigate these challenges together, communicating openly and offering practical solutions as well as emotional support. Each obstacle became a shared lesson, reinforcing the strength and resilience of their partnership. One rainy evening, as they walked through a quiet street illuminated by soft city lights, Hina reflected on how far they had come. "It's strange," she said softly. How much life can change when you meet someone who truly understands you. We've faced so much, yet I feel more hopeful than ever. Ion squeezed her hand gently. It's because we chose each other every day. Love isn't just about feelings. It's about action, commitment, and trust. We've proven that, and it's only getting stronger. Their journey also involved moments of personal growth. Hina took up new projects that allowed her to explore her creativity and leadership skills, while Ion pursued opportunities to expand his business ethically and sustainably. They celebrated each other's achievements and encouraged each other to pursue ambitions, understanding that supporting individual growth was as important as nurturing their relationship. They also discovered the value of quiet, ordinary moments. Early mornings spent drinking tea on their balcony, late-night walks through empty streets, shared laughter over small mishaps, and simply being present with each other became the heart of their life. These moments reinforced that true happiness was often found in simplicity and authenticity, not in extravagance or social approval. As the seasons changed, Ion and Hina continued to strengthen their connection through travel and exploration. They visited rural areas, historical sites, and natural landscapes, finding inspiration and peace in environments that encouraged reflection and togetherness. Each trip deepened their appreciation for life's beauty and their gratitude for having found one another. During one visit to a nearby hillside village, they encountered an elderly couple who had spent decades together, facing life's hardships with patience and love. The couple shared stories of their journey, emphasizing the importance of understanding, compromise, and commitment. Ion and Hina listened intently, taking the lessons to heart and reflecting on how their own love could continue to grow in depth and maturity over the years. Back in the city, they continued to balance their personal lives, careers, and social responsibilities. Hina's family grew increasingly supportive, often seeking their advice or involving them in charitable projects. Ion and Hina found that their relationship had begun to influence others positively, demonstrating that love grounded in trust and respect could set an example and inspire confidence in others. Despite the progress, they never became complacent. Both understood that life was unpredictable and that challenges could arise at any moment. They maintained open communication, regularly checking in on each other's emotions, goals, and concerns. They celebrated successes together and faced difficulties as a united front, ensuring that their bond remained resilient and nurturing. One quiet evening, as they prepared a small dinner together at home, Hina paused to reflect on the journey they had shared. "It feels like our love has grown beyond just us," she said softly. "It touches everything we do, the people around us, and the choices we make. It's like a ripple that keeps expanding." Ion smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. That's exactly what makes it real. Our love is not about comfort or it's about growth, impact, and commitment. Every day we spend together, we create something meaningful, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. As they ate their meal, they talked about dreams for the future, plans to expand their business ethically, initiatives to support the community, and ways to continue nurturing their relationship with intention and care. They realized that the love they shared was not static. It was dynamic, evolving, and capable of guiding them through every stage of life.